principals. Today I'm going to talk about the blueprint. Oh, we love high impact tutoring. I hope you're using it because that is what we want to see more of, right? And so this is not about like what we think is happening. This is what we know that's working and that's happening. And so it's about creating precise environment where a framework that works to accelerate student achievement in a lot of our schools. So I hope you enjoy. Warning, warning, we're facing an academic urgency. I want to say academic, but thinking of our national data shows that 1/3 of 8th grade students are reading below basic proficiency levels, right? And reading scores have continued to decline in multiple grade levels. So this tells us a lot of our recovery efforts need to be more intentional, right? And so thinking about what are your interventions that you have at the school right now and how long have you been doing it, and are they solving the problem or the challenge that we have? And that's how do we target students and give them support that they need directly to address kind of this unfinished learning of supporting with reading instruction. The promise is strong, but sometimes the scale is a little sketch, okay? And so we know research always shows that, tutoring can show academic gains, sometimes equivalent to 15 additional months in learning. Just let that sink in, but okay, here's the catch. Those results often happen when you have these small, tightly controlled environments, right? But when we see districts scaling tutoring without kind of maintenance or the quality reinsurance or even the consistency, we're showing how the results drop dramatically. So here's what I want you to kind of take away from here. Success really depends on the execution. So there are two terms in intensive intervention. So people often use terms like high dose tutoring and high impact kind of interchangeably, but they're not quite the same, right? High dosage tutoring really refers to the structure, right? The frequency and the intensity and the consistency of tutoring, right? That ongoing. Now, high impact refers to kind of the outcome, right? Thinking about significant outcomes, significant academic growths, and to achieve both, schools need, intentional design around scheduling, staffing, and true instructional quality. So we're talking about curriculum. So what is the anatomy of an effective tutoring model? I know this is what you're interested in. This kind of slide really highlights the foundational design, the components of effective tutoring, right? So research shows the strongest outcomes occur when students receive tutorings at least 3 times per week, right? What does that mean? Yes. So sessions need to last at least 30 to 60 minutes, right? We're talking about true intensive. Students groups are very small, right? Ideally no more than 3 students per tutor. And the tutoring directly aligns to instruction, right? And so thinking of consistency in tutoring student relationship also matters because trust drives engagement. Do you want to know a little secret? Effective tutoring lives inside of the school day. Really thinking of one of the biggest mistakes I see districts that have, they're treating tutoring like an optional after-school program. And so thinking of these after-school programs, if we were to treat it like that, a lot of our after-school programs struggle with attendance, consistency, and participation. If you're talking about being effective, the most effective tutoring models are truly embedded into the school throughout the day with intervention blocks, right? Whether it's your win periods or your mastery schedule redesigns, thinking of when tutoring becomes a part of the instructional day across, it improves drastically. Now, if you're thinking about a structured framework, like for system-wide scale, scaling really requires so much and even more than enthusiasm. Even if you're excited about it, it requires a systematic thought process, right? First, schools must decide where the clear goals, where are our target students that we need to really focus on. Second, we must really design around this instructional model, like we're including curriculum, we're including who the staff that are involved, and finally, think about our strong operational systems, right? Need to manage data. How do we manage communication? What does that look like? And then a school-wide coordination, right? Without these 3, without the systems, the scaling truly becomes chaotic. So we're talking about instruction powered by precision and connection, right? The human connection. High quality tutoring succeeds because it combines personal relationships, right? The personalization with this is some of the things that we're working on with the common relationship, the personal relationship with the classroom learning, right? And then regular progress monitoring to help students are improving and we are moving the needle. At the same time, strong tutor-student relationship continues to build this confidence and persistence over time. Now, I'm all about building the sustainability and building the pipeline for high quality tutors, right? Thinking of one major concern, districts have are staffing. But the good news is that certified teachers aren't the only effective tutorings that we can call on, right? Schools can build strong tutor pipelines using either college students, AmeriCorps, sometimes paraprofessionals, sometimes parents low-key if they're trained, but only if they invest in the training. The training and the coaching are key. The preparation matters so much more than the job title. So I ask you, are you measuring what actually matters, right? Think of all of our districts, right? Many districts measuring tutoring success by how many people participated in it, right? Alone. But to be honest, that is not enough. We need to talk about these three critical questions, right? Are we serving the right students? Are the right students in our programs? Are we implementing tutoring with fidelity? A lot of us hate that word, but are we doing it with fidelity? And the most important ones, are students actually outperforming their peers who are not receiving the tutoring, right? And these are the three metrics that matter. All right, so now we have 4 rules to really driving instruction and implementation, right? This slide, I think you should screenshot. It really talks about the operational discipline that you need to have. Districts must define their data, their expectations early so we're all on the same page. Simplify feedback systems and what that looks like. How do we ensure our provider transparency? And then how do we connect tutoring to performance directly to classroom outcomes, right? And what we have sometimes is data kind of connected in a jar just for reporting. Here you go, this is what we have. And so when we're really intentional and thinking, how does it drive better instructional decisions? Ooh, that's golden. All right, here is this proper implementation yields results. When schools implement tutoring correctly, the outcomes are significant, right? Research shows that tutoring we already know, produce up to 15 additional months of learning and really dramatically reduce failure rates. So thinking of how this reinforces tutoring, and it remains one of the most powerful interventions available, but only when implemented correctly. Last but not least, delivery determines your destiny. Okay, so this is the final slide. It brings kind of everything together. Tutoring works, but outcomes are definitely determined by how well a school executes the model. Strong delivery systems, strong scheduling, staffing is important, instructional alignment, and data all determine whether if the tutoring becomes a short-term initiative or a long-term driver of student success. I hope these tips help. Talk to you later. Bye!